If you're wanting to develop your shading or step outside your comfort zone and practice a style such as realism, you can see I have a workbook right here that I developed that's dedicated to developing our tattooing abilities. This tattooing workbook right here is called Statues Edition from the Stencil Focus tattooing workbook series. However, I have multiple tattooing workbooks in development and already released. Some are tailored to lining, some are tailored to shading, some are to dot work, some are to realism, some are to textures, fur, fine line. You get the idea. So whatever style of tattooing you are wanting to do, I am pretty sure that I have a tattooing workbook developed depending on when you are watching this video. Shading can be one of the most difficult things to learn as a tattoo artist. I have an assortment of various tattooing workbooks that are designed to help aid our development, whether it's going to be lining, fine lining, shading, stipple shading, dot work. You get the idea, textures, fur, and everything in between. I'm also working on a few more workbooks that are designed to help us develop. Right here is a great way to go about stepping outside of our comfort zone. Personally, when it came to tattooing, shading was one of the most difficult things that I had to learn. That's exactly why I created an assortment of various tattooing workbooks that are designed to help assist our development, whether it's fine lining, shading, packing, textures, and more. I have a workbook that is designed to help us develop our abilities. For example, right now I am working in my Statues Edition workbook from the Stencil Focus workbook series. The purpose of this specific tattooing workbook is to not only step outside of our comfort zone and practice realism sort of designs like statues, it's also to get used to practicing over purple. So you can see I have a ballpoint cartridge going here, and this is acting as a tattoo needle. I have my ink claw cartridge grip along with the More Money tattoo machine from Ink Claw, and this is a Moss-U ink ballpoint cartridge right here. My affiliate links will be for you in the description below to the gear that I'm using in this video. I'll also leave my Amazon affiliate links to the tattooing workbooks that I will be talking about here in this video for you down below so you can check them out on your end. The idea is to get acquainted with applying shading and just applying over this sort of carbon purple color, which is very common within tattooing. This is essentially mimicking a tattoo stencil. So this is kind of what it's going to be like when we apply a tattoo design, so we can get prepared for that sort of feel and get acquainted with how we would approach certain aspects. By using these tattooing workbooks, this will give us an edge, so when we step on over into fake skin, we'll have the upper hand and have a lot more of a ability to approach and accomplish things and get through problems as they arise. So you can see right now I'm practicing different shading directions, practicing different tones, different shading placements, and I'm having to problem solve and figure out how I'm going to go about applying these areas. I'm also paying attention to the varying tonal values right here as well, because that's truly going to reflect the final integrity of this exercise right here. So there are a lot of moving components. I'm also getting used to my hand speed to my voltage. I'm getting used to keeping a consistent workflow here to provide me with clean, consistent results. I'm also focused on my needle depth as well, because I am tattooing on paper here, so I do not want to break through. You can see that I am working this paper, but I'm not breaking through at all. So that's also a good sign. I feel like I'm on the right track here. I feel like with this practice here, I'm getting clean, smooth shades as well. So I feel like I am heading in the right direction. Right here, I have to figure out how I'm going to begin to gap this area together. I also have to keep in mind that I'm having to figure out how to apply this design right here with minimal lines. I don't want to do any sort of hard lining, so I'm going to have to just learn how to trust the process and my technical application, which can be pretty uncomfortable for artists who aren't used to these sort of designs, especially if you're used to like line dominant designs. This can be a great way to step outside your comfort zone. You're going to hear me say this quite a bit. If you are wanting to develop, this is a fantastic way to kind of go through that process and do it at a quicker rate, because you can tattoo and practice the way that I am anytime, any place. You don't need to wait until you set up and have the ink and the Vaseline and the wraps and everything. What you can do is simply carry any workbook of mine around with you, or maybe even a couple, with a tattoo machine of your choice, some ballpoint cartridges, and you are going to be on your way to practicing and getting closer to where you want to be technically. So this is a great way to build those sort of skills, again, anytime, any place, as the effort to get to setting up and practicing is minimal. I'm working on my layers as well, so I'm learning how to not only shade, but I'm learning how to build up my shading. Kind of rocking this back and forth, so you can see kind of all the technicalities that are going on here. There's a lot of technical variables to consider that are actually working at play. As you can see, I'm going to begin to kind of cross hatch and use circular motions to create a bit of a texture and to smooth things out here. I also want to add another layer of shading. Zooming in here, you can see that there are multiple tones and variables. You can see there are textures here. So when I look at this, it not only raises awareness on how much effort I have to put into not only paying attention to the design, but how much effort I have to put into actualizing a practical approach in which is going to allow me to apply this design the way that the stencil is reading. That is of the utmost importance, because that is, at the end of the day, what the client would agree to, which is going to be this design right here. So as you can see right here, I'm kind of problem solving and figuring out practical ways that are going to reflect this stencil accurately. And to do that, I'm going to use a series of whip motions right here, just layering up until I get to the saturation that I am needing. Not only that, with this workbook right here, you can see that there's heavier line weights around these exercises. I'm also able to go about figuring out ways to apply heavier line weights here. So I'm just going to kind of use a series of consistent strokes, focusing on my hand speed to my voltage and my needle depth to accomplish this heavier line weight right here. I'm just going to kind of repeat that until this line is done. And this is kind of going to help me build. And I'm going to take these learnings over with me to fake skin. And then from fake skin, I can kind of graduate on over gradually to human skin as I progress. I feel like these are very healthy stepping stones. Even if you're already on human skin or fake skin and you want to brush up and or step outside of your comfort zone, these workbooks can be a fantastic resource to allow you to do so. They are also fantastic for just simply warming up and staying sharp. For me, I know that I was very uncomfortable with doing smaller detailed areas like this, for example. So now one thing that I've learned is I kind of just work in microscopic increments, as you can see, and then I'll just kind of navigate and build certain areas on up, as opposed to try to hardline everything directly into the exercise. This sort of technical approach is what I would take with me when I am fine lining using, for example, a 3-round liner. Kind of slow and steady, patient, and build up this gradual detailed area, as opposed to trying to just simply hard line everything. You can see kind of just microscopic increments, depositing like so. I'm going to kind of pendulum these areas in. You're not going to see me necessarily hardline anything, just because I don't feel like this sort of style calls for that sort of approach. And then I would repeat that all throughout. So right here, kind of lightly go this way and then repeat. Same thing right here. There we go. And then the same thing, I'm going to go over here and gradually build up. So this I can do again on the go anytime, any place. I don't necessarily need any ink. I don't need any Vaseline. I can save time on all of the wiping. I can save time on all of the setting up, breaking down, all of that, and I can get straight to the technical process, which is building up the actual tattoo, problem solving, and figuring out ways I can go about applying this tattoo and getting more technically sound. I feel like this is by far one of the best ways to develop next to actually just practicing. But I understand for a lot of people who are, starting and practicing, they may not always be able to practice as much as they want, and having these resources like these workbooks are a great way to allow you to practice much easier. And you're going to notice that none of this that I'm doing is necessarily by any means perfect. What I'm able to do is apply this, look at everything from a bird's eye view, come back later on, and then figure out different ways to go about better applying these areas here. That's exactly how I'm going to approach this. Just slowly build everything up and really take my time. A lot of my tattooing workbooks as well also come with tip, tricks, and objectives to kind of help keep you motivated and inspired throughout your development process. Are you wanting to develop your tattooing skill sets? Now you can practice and develop anytime, any place with an assortment of tattooing workbooks that I've created. With these assorted tattooing workbooks, we can practice our basic lining all the way to advanced lining. We can practice shading, shading placement, dot work, textures, and more. All we are going to need is a tattoo workbook of mine. We can use a pencil, pen. We can even use a tattoo machine with a ballpoint cartridge to develop our tattooing abilities further. That means that we don't need tattoo ink, we don't need napkins or petroleum jelly to get to practicing. Simply open one of my tattooing workbooks and get going. It really is that easy. You can get your hands on one of my developmental tattooing assorted workbooks by simply clicking the links in my description or in the pinned comment section below, or navigating on over to Amazon.com, typing in Daniel Yuck, and you'll see all of the assorted tattoo workbooks that I've created come up. If you have an Amazon account, be sure to follow my Amazon author page as well, as I would greatly appreciate your support. Should you have any questions at all, drop them in the comment section down below. I will do my best to assist you in the best possible direction. Are you needing or wanting tattoo guidance? What about 4K high quality step-by-step follow along tattoo sessions? Or maybe one-on-one tattoo support to get answers to your questions that are specifically tailored to your wants and needs as the artist? You can now become a Patreon where you will gain access to high quality 4K exclusive step-by-step follow-along tattoo sessions. I will be tattooing with you in a one-on-one step-by-step manner where I will be explaining what I am doing and why every step of the way. I will also be doing this in a high-quality 4K format for your optimal viewing experience. On top of the one-on-one support and on top of the step-by-step tattoo session guidance, you will also gain access to exclusive tattoo stencils that you can download and place on your end to further develop your skill sets. I will leave a link for you in the description or in the pinned comment section below, or you can head on over to patreon.com/Daniel Yuck. When you become a Patreon, you will be getting one-on-one support where you can ask me as many questions as you'd like that are specifically tailored to your wants and needs as the artist. You will gain access to exclusive tattoo stencils that you can download and practice on your end. You'll also gain access to exclusive high quality 4K footage where I walk you through each and every tattoo session in a one-on-one step-by-step manner where I explain all the what's and why's along the way. Become a Patreon today. Thank you for your support in advance. I greatly appreciate you.